Hi, my name's Russell Stannard. I run a small organisation called teachertrainingvideos.com. What I want to look at today is how we can use screencast technology to get our trainee teachers to reflect on their lesson plans, on the lessons that they've observed, on lessons that they've actually given themselves. Screencast technology is the ability to record the screen of your computer. So anything that you've got open onto your computer screen can be recorded as a video. So you can talk over a PowerPoint, you could talk over some questions in a Word file, you could talk over some kind of graph, you could talk over some kind of table. So it's very simple, for example, for a teacher to open up their lesson plan, turn on the screen capture technology, and to record themselves talking about their lesson plan. And so what we're going to do in this video is look at that process, including looking at a few examples of what trainee teachers have actually produced. So screen capture technology is a technology that allows you to record whatever is happening on the screen of your computer as if you had a camera pointing at your computer. So if we think of that from a teacher training point of view, one example could be that a trainee teacher produces a lesson plan and then records themselves talking over that lesson plan and perhaps explaining their thought processes, how they want to organize the class and why they're doing it in that particular way. So it could easily be done for reflecting on a lesson plan. Another interesting example could be where a teacher has observed another lesson and then has been asked to answer some questions about that particular lesson and what they focused on, what they felt went well and what they felt went badly. And again, we as the teacher trainer could provide those questions. The teacher trainee could open those questions on the screen, turn on the screen capture technology and record their answers. Another way that it could be used could be simply in part of some type of discussion. For example, perhaps the teacher or the trainee teacher has given a lesson themselves, and afterwards we as the trainer provide them with some questions and get them to answer questions on how they felt their lesson went, what they felt could work better, etc. I've even used this as a way of getting students or trainee teachers to reflect on their written work. So they might have produced a composition, an essay, perhaps a question specifically about teacher practice, and I would ask them then to record themselves going through their own work and explaining why they've done it in this particular way, why they've answered the question in this particular way, etc. So there's lots of uses of this one technology, and one of the interesting things about this technology is that it's completely free. So what we're going to do now is actually look at how screencast technology works, and then I'm going to show you one or two examples of work that teachers have produced using screencast technology. I'm going to use a technology called Screencast-O-Matic, and the great thing about this technology is that you don't even need to sign in. You can simply use the Screencast-O-Matic recorder immediately. So I've just come onto the screencast-o-matic.com website. I'm going to click on Start Recording. It's going to take me to another page, and I need to click here on Launch Recorder. Now when you launch the recorder, it will take a few seconds for that recorder to be open. You'll see that it asks whether or not it can run a small app. You will need to say yes, of course, to open up the application, and that app that you're opening is actually the recorder that will allow you to record the screen of your own computer. Now you can see it has already appeared on the screen. One really important thing to understand is that recorder is actually a separate object. So if I was to minimize the screen of my computer now and minimize the web page that we're currently on, you'll see that the recorder will still actually be on the screen. Now what we can see here in the background is simply some questions that I might ask a teacher to reflect on after they've done a teacher training session. Often in the teacher training sessions that I do, which are always focused around the use of technology in language teaching, quite often I get my teacher trainers to do micro lessons and then to record themselves reflecting after the lesson on how they felt the class went, etc. So you can see now that I don't have to have the recording full screen. I can just mark out the area that I want to record. I do have the option of both using it to record the webcam and to record screen capture if I want to. I click on the button, as you see it counts me in, and then I can start my recording. So let's imagine that I'm a trainee teacher. I've done my lesson, my micro class, and I'm now recording myself thinking about the questions that are on the screen. So you can see how easy it would be for me to do that. I simply click on the record button and begin to record. Now you can actually pause if you want to, and then if you're happy with what you've done, you just click on the done button, or of course if you want to go back to continue recording, just click on the record button. Now, and we can just check that the recording's worked.
Teacher trainer,
And now we've got a number of options in terms of the way that we want to save the recording. Sometimes I get the trainee teachers to upload the video onto YouTube. If they've got a Gmail account, that's very easy for them to do. But what we're going to do in this example is simply save the video onto our computer. One thing is to make sure that you give that video a specific name. So change the file name to make it nice and clear, and obviously tell Screencast-O-Matic exactly where you want to save that video. I'm going to save my one on my desktop, and if I click on the button now, you can see it's very quick. That video has been produced and saved onto my desktop and would now be available for me to share, and I could share that perhaps in an email or upload it into Moodle or email it to my teacher trainer, depending lots of different ways that we can actually share the recordings. And you can see how easy this process is, and of course the great news is it's free. So let's have a quick look at the resulting video. There it is on my desktop. I would click, you can see that all the questions appear on the screen, and of course whatever the teacher trainee said would come out in the recording as well. So a great way of getting teacher trainees to reflect on lesson plans, on their performance in class, perhaps the performance of other teachers, perhaps even going over an essay that they've written or an essay plan. Lots of ways that this technology can be used. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of examples now. In this first example, a trainee teacher has actually participated in a lesson, so they were actually involved in a lesson that used technology, and then afterwards I sent them a series of questions to get them to reflect on that lesson and to tell me what they thought of the lesson, what actually took place, etc.
What type of language processing took place while the activity was taking place? Well, firstly, we distributed our tasks to different group members. For example, I was in charge of the video and Jay was in charge of the editing. And we also commented on each other's work. For example, Cynthia said, "Well done, Cecilia." And we also had a little discussion about the final editing. So I would say there were a few language processing going on during the activity, but the language we used were really very easy and basic. So I don't think there are some new language or some language acquisition going on in this activity.
Okay, in this second example, it's quite interesting. Similar context where a trainee teacher is reflecting on the lesson, but number one, they decided to use both the webcam and the screencast facility, so which you can do with Screencast-O-Matic. But secondly, we also noticed that this particular trainee teacher had prepared their answer, and we thought about this afterwards and we thought, no, that was absolutely fine. The important thing was that through the process we were hoping that we were encouraging the trainee teacher to reflect on the lesson, to think about what they'd learned and what they got out of actually being involved in a class.
Now I'm going to mention about some language processing happening during the activity in terms of 4 abilities. During the process I spoke a lot, because Karen and I used the same laptop, so that we had to negotiate with each other before posting it on the wall. While speaking, listening practice took place as well. Moreover, before sending a group member to the front, our group also made a final discussion to make everything clearer. However, sometimes I blurted out some Chinese words accidentally, for our mother tongue is the same.
I hope you found that useful. Some examples there of what trainee teachers produce, just very small snippets. Screencast technology is completely free, or particularly if you use Screencast-O-Matic. Remember, you can include both a webcam and the screen capture at the same time. And remember also that you don't necessarily have to organize these activities with trainee teachers working on their own. They could easily record themselves working in pairs or groups and doing the recordings that way as well. Thank you very much.